Hey everyone, it's Matthew here at Midland Pictures. Today we're doing another workflow video where we're taking a look at how to sync audio to picture using Timecode through the Tentacle Sync Studio app and Final Cut Pro. Check it out.
Save it for conversation.
Welcome everyone, thanks again for joining me for another workflow video. We're in the edit bay today going over syncing audio to picture using Timecode. Timecode is an awesome tool that filmmakers use to more easily sync their audio to their picture. In simplest terms, it's an easy way to align your audio and your video when you're recording separately, and it's a common language that all NLEs understand so that they can look at the timecode on your video and your audio and line them up. Now with Final Cut Pro, there are some limitations to syncing with timecode. The issue with creating synchronized clips in Final Cut Pro is you have to do it one clip at a time. You can't select a number of video clips and a number of audio clips and synchronize them into individual synchronized clips. This is where the Tentacle Sync Studio app comes in. It allows you to batch sync video clips to audio clips and create individual synchronized clips for Final Cut Pro. There are a few extra steps involved in this workflow that I'll review shortly, where you save time by being able to batch sync. You spend a little bit extra time having to export an XML from Tentacle Sync, import it into Final Cut Pro, and then organize and clean up the events and keyword collections that Tentacle Sync Studio creates. So just a little bit of quick context for the project we're going to be looking at. I've been in principal photography on a short documentary film that we're filming here in the Omaha area about a musician who's been writing and performing his own music for the last 50 years. We've had 5 days of shooting, and 4 of those days we've been using Timecode. We have a sound recordist, Ian, who's using the Tentacle Original on our Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 4K so that he can use Timecode with the camera and his field recorder. The Tentacle Original device on the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera 4K generates timecode that stripes onto the video files that the camera creates. When we get into post, because there's timecode also on the audio, they can easily sync up with that timecode. Let's dive right into how you sync your audio to your video using Tentacle Sync Studio, and later on we'll talk a little bit more about why you would want to work with timecode and why you would want to use this app when you're editing in Final Cut Pro. So I've just captured day 4 from our shoot to the project tree that we have in Finder, and I need to sync the video clips to the audio clips and then import those into Final Cut Pro. So we have the Tentacle Sync Studio app open, version 1.20. All right, so we're gonna go to day 4 of filming because I have yet to sync all of these clips and audio. And you can see here we've got B006, and we shot this all in B-RAW. Unfortunately, Final Cut Pro can't look at or read or view or do anything with B-RAW because, I don't know, Apple and Blackmagic are fighting with each other. Hopefully they can get over it and support B-RAW in Final Cut Pro sometime soon because it's a really awesome codec and I like working with it. So we have our B006 proxies. Our proxy media is a down-resed version of the original media, which was all shot in 4K. So we have 1920 by 1038 because we're going to exhibit this in a 1:8:5 aspect ratio. These clips are all a hard 24 frames per second, and they've been treated with a custom LUT that Cody Jones created, and as well as some film grain and other things so that while we're editing we can have something that's approximating the final look of the film. Of course, it'll all be regraded from the B-RAW once we have picture lock. Until now, we'll just work off of this proxy media in what's called an offline edit. So I'm going to take all this media and drag it in here to Tentacle Studio. It's going to go through and analyze all that media, read all the timecode. And then over here, I need to navigate to our audio. So I'm going to go to the audio folder, and then I'm going to go to location, and then day 4. And then this is the card from Ian, and he has all of these audio files. Now, because this is documentary, we did very long takes of audio. So we're gonna go ahead and take all these and then drag them into the Studio app. It's gonna analyze all that media and give us these green lights to let us know that everything's looking good as far as sync goes. Then what I like to do is I like to click on Sync Map and get an idea in like a little timeline browser here how the audio did with syncing video to audio. You can see it kind of looks like a little bit of a slimmed down NLE where you have video tracks and audio tracks. And all of this looks pretty good to me. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to export an XML that Final Cut can read so that it can take all of these synced clips and create sync clips, a multicam clip, and a project that shows all of the clips and their synchronization. So let's click on XML, and then we're gonna call this day 4 sync, and it's already in the folder that I want it to go in. So in my project tree, it's in the project files folder under XML and then under Tentacle Sync. So we'll hit save, and then it's going to export that XML. We're going to hit OK. Then we're going to switch to Final Cut and import that XML. So I'm going to click on the library, then hit File, Import XML. We're going to navigate to that folder, Tentacle Sync, which is in my recent places. Then we're going to pull in day 4 sync. And let's slim this down a little bit. So you can see we have a lot of clips with black on them, but there is actual video here. They're just very small portions of video that are synced to large portions of audio. But the beauty of this app is that it keywords the portion of that clip that has video and audio, which is really helpful for doing some of the things that you need to do after this process is complete. You can see here with Ted, we've got everything synced. There's also a multicam clip down here. And if we click on the multicam, you'll see it has that entire reel of video and audio all synced together. And this goes back to what I said earlier. If you want to use the multicam clip and mark it up, mark each individual clip, whether you favorite it or keyword it, you can do that. I personally don't like to do it that way. I like to work with each of these individual clips, especially because when we go into DaVinci Resolve for color grading, I think using the sync clips is a little bit smarter to keep things simple and easier to do in DaVinci than using a multicam clip. So another thing that I love that this app does is it creates a project that has all of the media synced together. So if you were to want to copy and paste this into your edit, you could do that. If you wanted to just start your edit from here using this project, you could do that. I don't really work that way, so this is kind of a bonus thing that I don't really use. I'm really working primarily with these synchronized clips. And then let's go back to the Tentacle Sync app and remove all this stuff. We'll get rid of that. We'll pull up Finder, and now we're going to do B007 using the proxies. So we'll Command A all those and drag them into Tentacle Sync Studio. Then I'm going to navigate to the audio folder, drag those in. It's going to analyze all that for sync. Going to click on our sync map just to make sure everything is looking good, and it is. All that looks great. We'll go ahead and click on XML, and then we'll do day 4 sync. I'm going to actually label this B007 and save it. Then hit OK, and then we'll go back to Final Cut, and we're going to import that XML. So now we have this new event. We have all of our synchronized clips. The portions that have video are keyworded, which is awesome. We have a multicam that encompasses all of the clips and the audio. And then we have a project that has everything synced as well. So this is Editor Matt coming back into the video. I want to make a critical point about Tentacle Sync Studio and what it does with your footage once it's synced and puts it back into Final Cut Pro. So I've imported the XML again, and I want to take a second look at the synced keyword collection that is created in the day 4 sync event from the XML. This is critically important to have an understanding of what this software is doing for you so that you're ready to start the edit process pretty much right away. So when you import all of this, I pointed out that there's a little section of the entire clip. So you have one big long audio clip, but only a very short portion of the video clip because of the nature of how we were shooting this documentary style. So when you have numerous clips like that, if you're always having to zero in on that little tiny portion where there's actually video synced to audio, it can be very time consuming. If you had to keyword that little section yourself or delete the portions of the clip, reject the portions of the clip in Final Cut that you aren't going to be using, that would be incredibly time consuming. So this synced keyword collection is just the portion of the synchronized clip that has both video or picture and audio. So right off the bat, you can hit the ground running by marking favorites on interview clips, marking favorites on different portions of the B-roll that you like, the actual portion that the camera operator was intending for you to use as opposed to getting settled or getting ready for the shot. All of this is ready to go. And in list view, if you're looking at, let's say, a piece of B-roll, let me see if I can find something here. So yeah, here we're in TED Studio. If you want to label this stereo audio equipment, studio, when you come back out of list mode and type in studio, that clip automatically pulls up. So it's all ready to go to be logged and maybe further organized in your events. You know, what I would do is I would take this up to the footage event, but I would rename it Day 4 Sync, and you see that I have that here. I just feel like I wasn't quite clear on how this software automatically keywords the portion of the clip that you're going to use, and you can immediately start favoriting and logging your footage without having to go into Final Cut and tell it what portion of that synchronized clip you're actually going to be drawing footage from. So I wanted to make sure I was clear on that. I think that takes care of it. So let's get back to the video. So there's a few steps left in the assistant editing process now that I have picture synced to sound using Timecode. There's some stuff I need to clean up, and I'm going to do that in a moment. But first, I just want to show you all how you would have done the same thing if you were just using Final Cut Pro. I'm not going to do all of the work, but you'll see how it was a much more involved process if you're trying to create synchronized clips with every video clip to every audio clip. So you need to go up to the library level because I have all of these events that are separating the footage from the audio. So you can see here that we have B006. And we know from Finder that our audio files were labeled Verite 01 through 13. So what we would have to do is we would have to click on this clip, then go find the Verite clip that is 01. And then we would have to right click and choose Synchronized Clips. And then you would tell it to do so using Timecode. And it would create that synchronized clip. You'd plug in, we don't want 720, but we'd plug in all of our information and then click OK. And you would have to do that for every single clip. And the amount of clips that we have are quite a few. Just in the B006 proxies, we have 33 files. And then in B007, we have 24 files. This is where someone might say who's watching this, well, just use the multicam, select all of the B006 files and then all of the audio files, make the multicam, and then use the multicam to cut up for your film. I don't like using the multicam again because I think it creates issues down the road when we get into DaVinci Resolve. Plus, I want to work with each individual video clip as it's synced to audio. It's just the way I learned how to do this. It's the way I was taught, and it's the way that I like to do it while I'm working through an edit. So that would be an incredibly time-consuming process, and that's where the Tentacle Sync Studio app comes in. It does all of that syncing in large batches automatically, and it knows exactly what to kick out for Final Cut Pro, so that with a little bit of work from an assistant editor or yourself, if you're acting as your own assistant editor, you can very quickly clean all of that stuff up and get moving on your edits. So that takes me back to the cleanup process. So we have all of this stuff in these events that need a little bit of rearranging. We don't want to leave these events separate. We actually want to work them into my footage folder here. So we want to get all of these clips into the footage event. And we're going to take all of these synced clips and put them in the Day 4 keyword collection. And now for Day 4, we have both the unsynced proxy media, and then we have all of the synchronized clips that were created for Final Cut that have our picture synced to our audio. And this is what we're going to be working off of in the post-production process. So the only thing left over in this event that XML created is the Day 4 sync. And I have here a smart collection up in my project event that is coded to say any project that's named sync automatically goes into this keyword collection, this smart collection. So I'm going to take this and drag it here, and you'll see that it's added to the sync. And then this is empty now, so I can just delete it. Now on the B007 reel, again, we have the Day 4 B007 sync. And then we have this clip that didn't have any audio. And then we have all of our synchronized clips and our multicam. Well, I want to take these and I want to bring them up here into footage. And then we have all of our synced clips, but I need to clear this out first. And I want to make sure that these all go into day 4. So then we want to get this up into the project folder. And then that leaves this empty, so we'll delete this. We've got all of our sync stuff. This is from the XML again, so I'm just going to delete this so it keeps everything nice and tidy. Now, the bulk of the work that I have left as an assistant editor is to take all of this new footage and add it to the keyword collection for TED. I created this keyword collection for all of the clips where Ted is speaking directly to the camera versus the clips that are more B-roll where Ted's doing something. He's in his home, he's watching television, he's making a sandwich, he's playing a song. What I'm going to do as I continue to assistant edit this, I haven't gone through day 1, 2, and 3, but I'm going to do something like this where I have a folder and it's day 4 and this is in day 4 and then I have day 4 sync. So in day 4 we'll have all of day 4 and then this will only be the clips that are not synchronized clips or multicams. So I'm going to Command K those and add day 4 sync and remove this one. So now we have day 4 sync and we have day 4 and this is just the raw media. And then I'm also going to make a day 4 multi. So I have that multicam clip if I want to use it. And we have one here. All right, so this one will be the whole day multicam. So we'll do day 4 multi, and then we'll remove day 4 sync. Day 4 multi, day 4 sync. So I need to do this for each of the other days of filming. And again, I'm still in the middle of assistant editing this and getting everything imported and set up. So there's still a lot of work to do just organizationally, but you can see I'm pretty hyper organized with all this. I want to be able to very simply and quickly go to the exact type of media I need from the exact day of the shoot. And that includes interviews, which I need to go through and add those, and then specifically clips that have to do with Ted talking to camera. So that's the Tentacle Sync Studio app. I use it all the time on shoots where we have a sound recordist who's using timecode with their audio and our camera so that you can quickly create synchronized clips, a multicam clip, and a project with all of your media synchronized. This app really speeds up the post-production process, and they really have things dialed in when it comes to working with Final Cut Pro. If you go to their website, you'll see the different products they have, and you can also take a look at purchasing the Tentacle Sync Studio app. If you own the Tentacle Sync equipment, that comes with a license for the Tentacle Sync Studio app, because Ian, my sound recordist, he's the one that owns the Tentacle Sync stuff. He has the license for the app on his end, whereas I don't. So I had to purchase this app so that I could very quickly and easily sync my audio. If you want to look at pricing, this is a bit of a pricey app. It's 149 euros. I think that ended up being about $180 US went at the time of purchase. But for me, the investment I made of $180 to have this app so that when I work with sound recordists that are using timecode, I can quickly and easily sync all of my footage to the audio. It's well worth it for me, especially because they did a great job of being able to integrate the synced audio and video into Final Cut Pro with the XML process. Again, this community is all about us sharing our tips, tricks, what we've learned, our workflows. So if you have something that you think is better than what I have going on, I would love to hear about it. Again, I don't sit here and make these videos thinking that my way is the end-all be-all way of doing things. I am here to learn and grow just like you are. If there's something in this video that helped you progress your workflow or gave you an idea of how you might be able to change things in production or in post-production, let me know down in the comments. I would love to hear and talk to all of you about your workflows. I had mentioned earlier talking about the why behind this workflow. And really the why pertains mostly to working with a sound recordist in production. If you're producing or directing your own videos or working with clients, I would highly suggest finding a local sound recordist that you can work with who can use timecode with your camera, especially if you're producing music videos or anything where audio sync to picture is incredibly important. As I've leveled up my production game and the types of films I'm doing, I want a sound recordist on set who's using timecode to capture audio and stripe the video with that timecode. It makes things incredibly easy on the back end to create frame accurate synchronized clips, and it really speeds up my post-production workflow. The other thing it does is it helps your local film community. The more you collaborate with additional film crew, the more that your film community's economy flourishes. If you restrict your shoots to a one-man band or just 2 people on set and you try to spin all those plates yourself, recording audio, setting up the lights, handling all the grip, doing all the PA, producing, directing, if you try to manage that all yourself, you're not supporting your local film community as much as you could be. Having a sound recordist on set is great because they usually have better sound equipment than you do. They can focus on the sound quality, any noise, interference, transmission issues, anything at all that is creating quote unquote bad audio, because they know that any issues with audio can really mess up your video. If you record your audio yourself and maybe you don't monitor it as closely as you should, any mistakes that are made with that audio where you're having static, interference, something isn't recorded right, the frequency is off, it can be very expensive to pay a professional sound person at a mixing studio, a recording engineer, somebody that really knows their stuff with audio to either repair, clean up, fix any audio mistakes that you've made. And let me tell you, it can add up very quick when it comes to audio repairs. So definitely think about hiring a sound recordist and using timecode in your production workflows. It also gives you a chance to up your game as an assistant editor or an editor because you've worked with timecode, and it may make you eligible for more editing jobs that are done at a higher level because they're all using timecode. All right, so that's my big speech. That's my big spiel on the why you should be working with a sound recordist and considering timecode in your workflow. If any of you have questions, hit me up in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And if you're not a subscriber to the channel and you really enjoy this video, check out the rest of the videos that we have and consider clicking the subscribe button and the bell so you get notifications every time we upload a video. The best thing that you can do for the channel is to click the like button below. Thanks again, everyone, for watching, and until the next one, I'll see you all soon.